What's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday here live on A to Z Sports. Going to have a great show today because there's a lot of things going on across the NFL right now as the NFL Combine underway starting yesterday in Indianapolis, and already some Titans-centric content happening at the NFL Combine as a very important position group is talking to the media up there at the NFL Combine, including the guy we're about to talk about this morning. So Mel Kiper Jr. put out his updated mock draft, his second mock draft of the season. And the Titans, I think, get somebody that they desperately need, of type of player they don't have. And it's something I think you guys will absolutely love. So we'll talk about who and what Mel Kiper mocked to the Titans this week in his mock draft. And also, there is another player who is still on the board when Mel Kiper mocked his player to the Titans that I think is interesting as well. So we'll play some video from Buck Rising, who is live covering the Combine up in Indianapolis for us. He'll be there the rest of this week through Sunday night. So a lot of great coverage coming from Buck, and also Titans GM John Robinson will be live with Buck on the air at 11:20 Central Time. So going to have a lot of big content this week. Zach, it is throwing shade. You might be throwing shade on a wild animal today.
Nope. I changed my shade.
Curveball. Okay.
I found new shade. My shade is 2 minutes long, and my shade is pretty funny. So
is it a video?
You just have to wait and see. That's just power to the people. So we're going to have shade today. My shade is entertaining, but it is shade. There's shade. There's definitely shade involved. So welcome in on a Wednesday. We've got Shade Day. Get your shade ready. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter. We'll be tweeting out those YouTube links. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ring the bell. Make sure the live alerts are on. Our subscription for YouTube's going up because we're getting more content, and we ain't slowing down anytime soon. So subscribe to our YouTube channel if you watch us there. Facebook, what's going on there? Bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing, as we say on the show. And you got to share the show around because we got to get – it's a path to 100K. We're going to 100K. We're just over 75,000. We got a lot, which is great, followers on Facebook. But share the show around. More people are going to be piling in here over the next 5 to 10 minutes. As they do, share the show. Let's get this party started. I also think it's hilarious based on yesterday's announcement. You know, everybody's trying to kill me off like Game of Thrones with these new markets. Yes, I will be traveling, and that will not stop. But I'm not going to die. I won't be. I won't be killed or slayed like Game of Thrones, like some of the comments have said, which I actually have found very entertaining.
Well, they're asking and wondering if you're going to move to Tampa because
I've got moved to Tampa, become a Cowboy in Dallas.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of things. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by the BetMGM app. Make sure you download that. A to Z Sports. I'm Austin. He is Zach. Make sure you follow us all over social media, as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network. We go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Also hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Got to make sure we thank our sponsors because they truly do make it happen for us, and they help out you guys. Renters Warehouse Nashville, the professional landlords in the area at renterswarehouse.com. Wilson County Hyundai. If you need a new car, you got to go somewhere you can trust. Make them a part of your car buying process at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage, better rates, better service. Learn more about a plan for you at fbhp.com/ATOZ. So Zach is also not moving to Cincinnati, Ohio. I think you would probably pick Tampa over Cincinnati. You'd probably pick Tampa over Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Just for overall living, right?
Well, yeah, I'm a deep sea fisherman. So that as I get later in life, my goal to have a boat, do whatever the hell I want, go marlin fishing, tuna fishing. So yeah, Tampa It's hard to do that in Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Cincy.
Well, you'd just be like every other Tampa Bay Buccaneer, is that you work in Tampa, but you live in St. Pete or Clearwater or those different, island little beach cities.
Scoot on down to the Keys, in which I'll be at the end of this month. So, I may check out some real estate.
Yeah, Jared says you don't want to live in Tampa. Trust him.
No, that is true. I learned that before.
Yes. And then Jamal says A to Z Sports Pittsburgh, boo. He lives in Pittsburgh. Don't boo us. You can boo the Steelers, but we're gonna cover the Steelers on our website and make some money off the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, all right. So let's get into what we have all gathered to talk about. Right? It is the Tennessee Titans and a mock draft, and we always see mock drafts all over the place. And Mel Kiper Jr. is the OG of mock drafts, basically creating the NFL draft, industry when it comes to coverage and how it is. And so Mel Kiper Jr. in his second mock draft of this mock season, he gives the Titans something I think fans would love to see. He's not going to draft a linebacker to the Titans or an offensive lineman. Mel Kiper Jr. in his latest mock draft gives the Titans at 26, wide receiver from Penn State, Jahan Dodson. And so I'm going to read the two paragraphs that Kiper has about Jahan Dotson, the wide receiver out of Penn State, going 26 to the Titans. Kiper says Julio Jones is 33, played in just 19 games over the past 2 seasons, and has only 4 touchdowns over that span. Can the Titans really rely on him to be a great wideout next to A.J. Brown, who has had injuries issues himself? I think they need to add an extra dimension for quarterback Ryan Tannehill, and Dotson has the versatility to align out of multiple spots. He had 91 catches for 1,182 yards and 12 touchdowns last season for Penn State, and he could rack up yards after the catch to help Tannehill. Another wideout to keep an eye on late round 1, Calvin Austin III, a 5'9", 165-pound dynamo who could run sub 4.4 in the 40 this week. He's one of the most underrated prospects in the draft, and he played in Memphis in college as well. So Jahan Dodson, Mel Kiper having the Titans going wide receiver in the first round. Before I dive into more about Jahan Dodson and why I think Titans fans would like that, Zach, what is your initial reaction to the Titans getting a wide receiver at 26?
Well, I think we also have to understand this is, mock draft 1.3.
It's 2.0. 2.0.
What? Oh, it's 2.0, not
2.0.
8.7. And look, they have a lot more mock drafts because they get read and things change. As we talked about, Harold Landry, if he doesn't sign, does that change the need of a first-round pick, right? Because there's a massive hole in pass rusher. Right now, there's not a massive hole because they have not made their decision on Harold Landry. So it's fair for what Mel Kiper is doing. My first reaction, and this is actually interesting because I had no idea. I wanted to react with the group, with the crew, with the chat. And my initial reaction to Dotson is I remember multiple games of watching Penn State last year because I went to go look at it. I was like, was that number 5? It was number 5. And number 5 was a reliable resource for Penn State.
Yep.
One of his best routes was the slant. He caught it in traffic multiple games. I had no idea who you were going to say. Number 5 from Penn State, Dotson. Now it's all starting to
Penn
come
State
back to me.
Have the names on the back of their jerseys, which pisses me off because of reasons like this, right?
That's probably why I knew his number more than his name.
Exactly.
But when they were in third down and they needed a play, they would go to him multiple times. 2 plays that I remember. Sideline, he was able to catch the ball with his hands on the sideline, and then slant routes to get first downs when they were in 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. So I do like the player. Now, I still would have to I need to diagnose and let this settle in. Do I like the pick?
Sure. So let me go ahead and read some more and tell you guys more about what I have looked up this morning about Jahan Dotson, because like you, I watched a handful of Penn State games this past season. Why? Because I felt like I continuously was betting Penn State games with a bet.
Well, you're a big James Franklin fan. That's probably
no. I hate James Franklin, but he has produced some pretty solid wide receivers over the last couple of years. So Jahan Dodson. Here's the thing on Jahan Dodson. He's 5'11", 184. So he's not A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Nick Westbrook-Akine, Racey McMath body type, right? Which is the body type that John Robinson has really gone after the last couple of years to fill out his wide receiver room, right? So Jahan Dodson, 5'11", 184. I'm looking at the NFLDraftBuzz.com. They have him ranked as the 6th best wide receiver in the class. He has a projected 40 time of 4.33 fast, right? Here's another thing about Jahan Dodson that I'm looking at from the Draft Network. Jahan Dodson in high school won the Eastern Pennsylvania Conference crown in the 100-yard dash or meter dash and the 200-meter dash. So he's a fast guy and he's got long speed. The 200-meter dash and being that fast for that long is impressive, as well as winning the 4x1 relay. So he's got big-time speed and he has big playability. How about this? We all know about Garrett Williams, and Chris Olave from Ohio State. Jahan Dodson over the last couple of years has the same amount of 20-plus yard catches as those two guys from Ohio State. So, and the Penn State offense, as Big Ten Jeff has brought up, Dotson is the only guy they had on that offense. They had to have him make plays, and he was able to do that. The other thing you have to love about Dotson is he had 138 targets in 12 games this past year. It's a lot of volume for a college wide receiver, right? So that proves Big Ten Jeff is right about that. He's their only guy. Only 2 drops. 2 drops for Jahan Dodson on 138 targets. He has really sure hands. And if you read anything about him, he is very nuanced and high-level technique when it comes to how he runs his routes and how he can create separation. So that is, I think those are big pluses. Jahan Dodson, insanely fast track speed, very sure hands, nuanced routes, and reliability. And he can create separation even when he's the only wide receiver that Penn State could reliably throw to. I think that's legitimate. So, you know, those are just some extra info on Jahan Dodson. How do you feel now about that?
What is his height and weight?
5'11", 184.
So I feel like, and my first comparison when you said he was the only guy that they had and they used him a lot, which was the case, right?
Yep.
And I don't know why he just popped in my head, but he reminds me of Christian Kirk. The way that Texas A&M used Christian Kirk in his final year as an Aggie, and then what they've been able to do in Arizona. And obviously they traded for DeAndre Hopkins. They've got Rondale Moore. They've got some more weapons. But that, I think he was the first guy that came to mind of what type of player that maybe he could become, because Christian Kirk is not, I mean, he's not a top 10 wide receiver. He's not, and I don't expect Dotson to become that, but he could be a damn good number 2 behind A.J. Brown, just like Christian Kirk is a damn good number 2 behind DeAndre Hopkins. So I kind of resonated with Christian Kirk as this type of player. How can they utilize him now with Julio still being on the roster? I mean, Julio is not going anywhere. He still has a lot to prove. He's still under contract. So I don't know if this is the pick that I would make, because I do think that they have other needs. But like I said, that's why you have mock draft 1, 2, 5, 7, 10, 11, 55, because we're going to go through this. This is March 2nd, and the draft's not till the end of April.
All right, so A to Z Sports, I'll go over what I just kind of spelled out about Jahan Dodson, who Mel Kiper mocked 26 to the Titans. But I do want to ask you guys this question. If the Titans picked Dodson at 26th, how would you grade that as a first-round draft pick for the Titans? How would you grade Jahan Dodson first-round draft pick for the Titans in this draft? But real quick, let me tell you guys about our friends at Renters Warehouse. RentersWarehouse.com is where to go to find out how much your home can rent for. There's a bunch of different ways that you can use Renters Warehouse to your benefit. They can create extra cash flows for you and your family. Also, they can help you earn long-term equity, because when you sell your house, you lose all the equity you were just working hard to build. But when you rent out your house, you get that long-term equity, which helps you with long-term wealth and get retirement plan ready. And you have renterswarehouse.com do all of the work for you. Find the tenants, price the property, do all the maintenance, do all the tax work, everything, collect the checks. You do nothing but own it and build up that equity at renterswarehouse.com.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Download the app today. Use that promo code right there on the screen. They are the king of sportsbooks. Risk-free bet up to $1,000 for new users. That you can take advantage of. Risk-free bet up to $1,000. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports right there on the screen. Download the app today on your Apple or Android app store. Right there, BetMGM.
All right, so Jahan Dodson mocked 26th overall to the Titans from Mel Kiper. How would you grade that? Big Ten Jeff says, depends on who is there. With just the info we have, he would give this a B. And I'm seeing a lot of Bs, B minus B, a lot of Bs across the board, really. It ranges from B minus to B plus. I see Alex has a C. So Eric with a B there. As you see, Nate says, C is for center. But again, I think Jahan Dotson would be great. I think that's the situation. Now, we're going to get into, all right, here are the wide receivers that Mel Kiper has coming off the board in this example. He has Drake London from USC going 9 to the Browns. He has Garrett Wilson from Ohio State going 14 to the Saints. Treylon Burks from Arkansas going 19 to the Eagles. Then he has Chris Olave from Ohio State going 23 to the Cardinals.
The Eagles drafting 2 wide receivers in back-to-back years.
Have you seen how Jalen Reagor's turned out?
Well, have you seen who throws the football?
But so go help him, right?
They can't get it to him. Hurts can't throw. What are you doing? Drafting another wideout.
Jalen Reagor is not bad because Jalen Hurts is not good. Jalen Reagor is just bad because Jalen Reagor is not any good. But anyway,
they got Devontae Smith, right? I mean, that's right. The point. They've got that doesn't make any sense.
But here's the difference. Here's what Treylon Burks is 6'4", wears 4XL gloves, big body dude, where Smith and Reagor are small guys. So you're trying to get the compliment guy. Because they lost Zach Ertz, so they're trying to get, they're trying to fill
that doesn't make any sense. So I give that from Mel an F.
All right. So Jahan Dodson is the 6th wide receiver off the board in Mel Kiper's mock. And so that's where he is at. A lot of you guys have probably picked up there was not a name at the position that went off before the Titans, meaning that he would still be available if the Titans are up there. We'll talk about Jameson Williams coming up here in a second. So, Zach, what would you give your grade on the Titans drafting Jahan Dodson? 4.33 speed, 5'11", 184, elite hands catcher, only 2 drops on 138 targets this past year, elite hands catcher, very high nuanced, highly developed route runner, and also, as I mentioned, deep speed is legitimate. Tops in college football, tied with Ohio State guys, with 11 20-plus yard catches last season in college football.
I've had some time to now let this settle over the last several minutes, and I still stick with my gut. I like the player. I don't like the pick. It doesn't make much sense for the Titans, in my opinion. I think that they're more apt to go offensive line, possibly tight end if they don't address that in free agency.
There's not a tight end to take at 26, man.
But more importantly, defense. I think they're more likely to go defense based on, again, free agency is still the big question. I just don't love this pick. I do really like this player, though. Are you trying to replace? So this is the guy who's got to replace Julio Jones, right?
Yeah. Not like this year, but long term, yes.
Yeah. So the real question, getting down to
but
the
what is
nitty-gritty,
replacing Julio Jones? You're not worried about replacing Atlanta Falcons 2015 Julio Jones. You're trying to replace this past year's Julio Jones.
But what is his ceiling, right?
I think Jahan Dotson has a higher ceiling than Julio Jones over the next 3 years. I mean, that's not saying anything crazy. Julio's 33 years old. Right. That's the point. That's the situation we're in. I watched a lot of Jahan Dotson. That guy is legit, Zach.
No, I watched my fair share too.
What's your
I
grade?
like the player. I like the player.
But you don't think the Titans need that type of wide receiver? I'm confused at how you like the player, but you don't like the pick for the Titans.
Give it a, so I'll tell you why. I have it. I have my answer. I give it a C+. That is my grade.
C+?
Yes. And here's my reasoning. I believe they won't be able to utilize him the way that he needs to be utilized, and they will concentrate more on Julio Jones over the next couple of years if they continue to keep him. And Dotson, I believe, with his playmaking ability and his speed, I think he needs the football, and he won't get the football as a first-round pick. We got to remember this. He's a first-round pick, so his expectations, people, Corey Davis, expectations matter where you are picked.
5 overall and 26.
Do you not listen? You're not listening to what I said. No, you're not, because you talked. Because I said expectations matter of where you pick. That's why my expectations for Corey Davis was so high, because it was 5 overall. He's trash. He's a bust. Your expectations go based on where you are picked. Rashaan Evans is the same way. Our expectation is not him a mid-round pick. He's a first-round pick. So I don't believe that Dotson for the Titans offense, I think he could thrive somewhere else. That's why I say I don't like the pick for the team, but I like the player. That's why I give it a C+.
So do you not like a wide receiver drafted in the first round by the Titans this year? Are you out on that position as a whole for the most part? I'm not asking you to make a.
I think if they go out and get a quality pass catching tight end, that's what I'm looking for.
There's no tight end to draft at 26 overall.
I said free agent. All right. I'm sorry. Yeah. If they go out and get,
you asked me about
the draft, and that's why I said, if they went out and got a tight end, a pass catching tight end in free agency, let me clarify that. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking less to draft a wide receiver.
I don't understand why you're not on board with a wide receiver.
I just told you. Did you not listen?
It doesn't make sense to me. You need a wide receiver in this draft, and you need multiple tight ends.
Not in the first round. Austin, you asked me a question. I guess you don't understand what I'm saying. I'll repeat it.
Disagree.
Open your ears and I'll repeat it.
I'm listening.
Okay, listen up. If they go out and get a pass-catching tight end, that could be Schultz, that could be Gesicki, that could be Joku, pass-catching tight end in free agency, I do not like them drafting a wide receiver in the first round. I would rather them use it on a offensive lineman or a defensive player. That is my philosophy. Do you understand that?
I get that. Yes. Now we also have to wait to see what the dominoes fall when it comes to Lewan, Saffold, Ben Jones, and Quessenberry, like we talked about yesterday.
But all three are not coming back. We've kind of, that's majority.
We've established that. Yeah. So Sean says Titans are losing 3 tight ends, 2 O-linemen, don't need a wide receiver, to be honest. I think you absolutely need a wide receiver, because how many times in big moments last year did you have your Nick Westbrook-Ikhine and Chester Rogers on the field as your 2 wide receivers?
Because you didn't have a tight end.
No, because you had Julio, who was consistently unavailable, and AJ Brown, who missed several games as well. You have to have a wide receiver. And I think
you have to have a tight end. They had bums.
But there is, Zach, I'm talking about first round draft pick. There is 0 tight end for the first round draft pick. You can find a solid tight end this year in rounds 3 or 4. Yes, I agree. You need a veteran tight end to go along with them in free agency. I'm not discrediting that. But I think you need a wide receiver who can stretch the field, who is different, who has speed, who is not AJ Brown and Julio Jones, who can be the wide receiver 2 of the future, because you don't have that guy right now. And I think Jahan Dodson fits with what you're looking for with the 26th overall pick. So you said C+ is your grade for Jahan Dodson?
What is the Titans' grade on drafting first round wide receivers?
Not great, Bob.
No, not great, Bob. I'm talking about god awful.
Yes. But they have to, and Jarrell says the Titans don't throw down the field. No, they want to throw down the field. They can't throw down the field because Nick Westbrook-Ikhine can't catch it down the field. They can't throw down the field. And so they need somebody to go do that. Jesse says Austin is crazier than a smashed cat. I don't know what a smashed cat means, but I don't.
You're running for love of the show. That was pretty good.
It makes no sense, but okay. They have no downfield weapons. They have nobody who can burn outside of AJ Brown
because that's not their game.
It needs to be. It was their game the last couple of years. They just didn't have, like, Ryan Tannehill was phenomenal throwing the ball down the field in 2019 and 2020. Took a massive step back in 21 because of the lack of personnel that could do it. So I think you absolutely need a burner. So in my opinion, drafting Jahan Dotson as your 26th overall pick, I would give it a B+. I agree with the high end of the comments. Not an A and an A-, but a B+ because he's a reliable player who's played in over 45 college games. That means he has not had a lot of injuries. He's been highly productive, and being the solo act on a Big Ten offense with a limited quarterback in Penn State and racking up 91 catches for almost 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns in 12 games, that's legit to me. It means that he can still get open and be productive when the defense knows he's the only thing they have on the outside. So then if you take that guy with an offense that has a Derrick Henry, that has A.J. Brown and Julio Jones in name, I think Jahan Dotson makes a lot of sense with the Titans offense.
I like the player. Like I said, I think to what you just said about his production in college and what he was able to achieve and accomplish, I think he will be a good pro. But I just don't think that the Titans will need him. I hope the Titans won't need him to draft him because they'll go out and figure out different ways to supplement this offense. And then the needs that they had nobody to throw to at the tight end position. Julio Jones was injured. A.J. Brown was injured. There was a massive drop off after that, right? We all know that. I'm curious to see how they address the wide receiver position. I would be shocked if the Titans draft Dotson. I'll be honest. I would be shocked.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I think I would be
shocked.
Okay. All right. Well, Jahan Dodson was talking with the NFL media at the Combine, and he mentioned that he has talked to the Titans. And here is Buck Rising getting a clip from Jahan Dodson talking about the Tennessee Titans and how he differs from Julio Jones and A.J. Brown.
That's 2 days ago, and I've definitely watched A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, different guys like that. Not really same stature as me, much bigger guys, different skill set. So just watching their game, love watching their games. Very great players, but just different skill sets.
I think the Titans need a different skill set. I think the Titans need 4.3 speed who can burn and create separation. And also your run after the catch is a very big strength of Dotson. He's reliable. He hasn't been hurt that much. I think Jahan Dotson checks a lot of boxes that you're looking for a wide receiver. The only thing the only knock, I went and read 3 different draft websites about Jahan Dotson. The only knock they have is that he's a little bit undersized. But how many 5'11", 185-pound wide receivers do we see having success in the NFL? A lot.
Well, so that's why you're drafting him, right? Like you're drafting him for a different size.
Yes, and I think that's good. I think that's legitimate there too. So he met with the Titans just a couple days ago at the NFL Combine. So that is something where the Titans are doing their homework on Jahan Dotson. Now, let's get to this follow-up conversation. Jameson Williams was still available in Mel Kiper's mock draft when he mocked Johann Dodson to the Titans at 26th. Would you prefer Johann Dotson or Jameson Williams, knowing that Jameson Williams tore his ACL in the national championship game, which I believe was January 10th? So January 10th ACL tear. Would you prefer Jahan Dotson or would you prefer Jameson Williams, knowing the injury situation? But first, Zach, tell everybody about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yes, I could absolutely do that. And that is something that has helped me out tremendously already in 2022. Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage, better rates, better service. They have 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. I'm a part of Farm Bureau Health Plans. Our guy Jack Gentry is now a part of Farm Bureau Health Plans. Anybody else who works for A to Z Sports, you get hooked up with fbhp.com/A to Z. And we're not giving special rates. They just got great coverage. They just have great rates in general. That's the best part about it. Make sure that you take a look at your health plan of what you have now and maybe shop the market. It's not that bad of an idea. It's a 30-minute health assessment. They'll give you a real quote. I get a contact allowance. I get my teeth cleaned and I get allowance each year. I mean, these are things that I didn't get with my previous health plan. And my previous health plan cost me 20% more per month. I'm not talking about 20% more overall, 20% more per month. I mean, that's money in my pocket. It's unbelievable. FBHP.com/A to Z. Check them out today.
Don't forget, download the BetMGM app. You can use our code ATOZ Sports for risk-free bet up to $1,000 after your first deposit with your first bet. So it's pretty simple. You download the app, use the code ATOZ Sports, you make your first deposit, and then your first bet is risk-free up to $1,000 with the code ATOZ Sports. Zach, I've got a little play. I'm going MTSU -2.5 tonight against Charlotte. MTSU is really, really good against the spread, a 2.5-point favorite. I'm already on that. So there's a little gift to everybody there. MTSU is 21-5-1 against the spread this year, and they've won 13 to 14 games. So it's a small number there. So check that out, the BetMGM app. Use our code ATOZ Sports. So would you prefer Jahan Dodson or Jameson Williams at 26th if both are available? Jameson Williams coming off of an ACL tear in the national title game. January 10th is when that happens. So if you look at the typical 10-month, right? 10 months, meaning he would be at the 10-month mark in about like week 7, week 8, right, of the season in mid-October. How would you go, Johann Dotson or Jameson Williams? What would be your preference? And let's see what the chat has to say.
Well, Chris, I think brings up a good point. Williams is a boom or bust pick, right? But I think that a lot of people are high on him being a boom pick. Bama Brad, 1970. What do you think he says?
Jameson Williams. What do you know?
Bingo. So let's see. Williams coming in from Billy Jones. G-Man on base says long-term Williams. Jameson Williams from Ethan Green. Dodson from Tighten Up, Ohio. Mark Jones going Jameson Williams. Dodson only need day one players. Dodson from Levante Williams. He also just says speed. Williams is the type of player J-Rob loves from Chris.
Well, it's because it's literally. I think I made this joke on Twitter. I think everybody made this joke on Twitter. As soon as Jameson Williams tore his ACL in the national title game, how many Titans people said, with the first round pick, John Robinson selects Jameson Williams, wide receiver, Alabama, right? Because, they've already picked 2 guys who have been injured in the first round 2 of the last 3 years. And the one that was not hurt was Isaiah Wilson. So there is definitely a trend here.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, Jameson Williams has a higher ceiling, right? I mean, he's a playmaker, and he's unbelievable. So if you had to put a gun to my head and me answer the question, the answer is Jameson Williams. That is the answer.
And you're not worried about not having him impact until November?
Well, it's all about the team that's drafting him. That's why I diagnosed the previous question the way that I did. Is it's about the team. I love the player. I don't necessarily like the pick. For this question, I'm diagnosing the players, and Jameson Williams has a much higher ceiling. And if you are trying to replace Julio Jones, in which we talked about earlier, I believe Jameson Williams has a better opportunity of replacing and thriving in that number 2 wide receiver slot right alongside A.J. Brown than Dotson does. He's just a better player, right? You take the ACL tear away, and Williams, he's probably, where do you think he's drafted in the first round?
Top 10.
Exactly. So it's the same thing that you referenced based on what they did with Jeffrey Simmons. He was a top 10 pick that fell quite a bit in the first round when it comes to injury. Caleb Farley, he'd probably been top 15, probably maybe not top 10, depending on the back injury.
Yeah, right.
Because those top 2 corners, that's all I was saying.
He was projected without the injury as an athletic profile right up there with the top, which comes scheme fit, with corners. So you never know.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right?
Right.
They got him with a value pick in the 20s. So the Titans are not scared to draft hurt players. They've told you that. I mean, since Corey Davis was drafted, you had Harold Landry was hurt.
Second round pick.
I'd love to see the percentage. This would be actually a good article. Anybody out there works for A to Z, this is a good article idea. The percentage dating back to, I don't know, take a certain number of years of the percentage of players that have been hurt prior to being drafted by the Tennessee Titans.
You're talking about like hurt in the combine draft season?
Yeah. Or
like
no, just going into that. Corey Davis had ankle surgery. Harold Landry had question marks because of his injury.
Yep.
I mean, the list is going on and on. It's probably a pretty high percentage, especially weighted. If you actually weight the,
are you talking about for every draft pick? Or are you talking about for like rounds 1 and 2?
Let's do 1 and 2. Those are the highest productive draft picks, right? Those are the guys that impact your team the greatest. So they're not scared to draft a hurt player. That's why my answer, based on everything I said, is Jameson Williams.
So if you give Jahan Dodson at 26 a C+, what would your grade be with Jameson Williams?
But my grade was based on I didn't love the pick. So
okay.
I told you what I want the Titans to do. I want them to address tight end in free agency and get a pass-catching tight end, and I would be more comfortable them using it on offense, the first-round pick on an offensive lineman or a defensive player. I stand by that. It's March 2nd. For Jameson Williams, I think I would like the pick. I would grade it higher based on the ceiling being higher than Dotson, right? That's how I diagnosed it. So I would say I would probably give Jameson Williams a B.
A B?
Yeah, for that selection. He can't help you till week 7 or 8. I can't give him an A. Are you crazy? What are you trying? So with your look and your scowl, what was your ass grade?
My eyes are wide open. That's not a scowl. That's not a scowl whatsoever. All right, I will tell you why I adamantly disagree.
I'd love to know
with Zach, but real quick, tell us about Wilson County Hyundai.
Yeah, I absolutely can do that. Wilson County Hyundai is where you need to go to get your next ride. Quick trip down I-40. That's all you got to do. WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can go there, you can go online, you can look at their inventory. They've got your perfect make and model, whether it's fuel efficiency, could be an electric car. They got those on tap, on deck right there. The electric car can save you fuel because fuel's probably going up because of everything happening in the world. Or if you need to carry around the kids, you got a full-size SUV, the Hyundai Palisade 2021, full-size SUV with third-row seating, fuel efficiency, and cost-effective. That's WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
All right, don't forget, I've already given you guys a pick for tonight, so you can ride it with me. MTSU -2.5 on the BetMGM app. Go ahead and jump on that pick before the line even moves more. So BetMGM, download the app, use our code ATOZ Sports, and you get a risk-free bet, up to $1,000 with your first bet after your first deposit. It's easy enough, just a couple steps. Download the app. Use our code ATOZ Sports, and your first deposit is set. Then your first bet's risk-free up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued with non-withdrawable free bets or site credit, and for free bets expire in 7 days. And for problem gambling support, call Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. So the conversation that we're having right now is that Mel Kiper Jr. mocked Jahan Dotson, wide receiver from Penn State, to the Titans at 26th overall. He was the 6th wide receiver taken in that mock draft by Kiper, and he left Jameson Williams on the board for the Titans. And Jameson Williams went 2 picks later from Kiper, 28th overall to the Green Bay Packers, right? And we don't know where Aaron Rodgers is going to be, but if Aaron Rodgers is there, he's got Devontae Adams on a franchise tag and Jameson Williams. Seems like that could be pretty legitimate. So, Zach, you gave a B grade for Jameson Williams to the Titans at 26th. I think if the Titans have Jameson Williams on the board at 26th and don't draft him, I might throw something at my TV, because I think Jameson Williams is a game changer for this Titans offense and would be the perfect complement to A.J. Brown on the outside for the long term. And for everybody who says you need a day one impact guy, you got to have somebody who can impact in week one, right? Immediate impact. No, not really. You don't need immediate impact. I could give a damn about what happens with Jameson Williams in September or October. I need Jameson Williams and the Titans' first-round draft pick to be an impact in January and hopefully February. That's what I need from Jameson Williams.
What do you grade it?
An A. It would absolutely be an A. If the Titans get Jameson Williams at 26th overall, A+ draft pick.
Well, A or A+? What are you going with?
Okay, A.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you going A+?
I'll settle with an A, because you still have to wait it through. But he tore his ACL weeks before Jeffrey Simmons tore his. And Jeffrey Simmons is a way bigger guy than Jameson Williams. And I think the ACL rehab could be a lot sooner than what Jeffrey Simmons had, and a lot easier because of the different position and body type. And so, yeah, I think I have zero doubts. I think they handled Jeffrey Simmons really nicely with his rehab, and they've already got that. So just do it again with Jameson Williams. And you got to, everybody's talking about how much of a steal you got with Jeffrey Simmons. It would be even more of a steal if Jameson Williams is there at 26 and you swoop him up.
Yeah, but just because it worked on one player doesn't mean that it will work on another, right? I mean, you cannot have that same. I mean, Caleb Farley's not off to a great start.
Caleb Farley tore his ACL, which just happens. That's got nothing to do with his back issues. It just was a freak play.
Now he's got back issues and a torn ACL. I mean, to start his NFL career, Austin, that's not a great way to start.
But I'm just saying, like, it's
unrelated. Is that a good way to start?
Zach, no, I'm not saying it's a good way to start. That you're misunderstanding the point that I'm making. Is that Caleb Farley tearing his ACL is unrelated to anything that he had in college with his back. It's ACLs happen to everybody. Does Cam Batson have an injury history? No, he just tore his ACL. Stuff happens. ACL tears happen. And you recover for them pretty nicely. Does that make sense?
I just think that it's not starting off real well based on what they're doing over and over again, and that's drafting injured players, right? Just because Jeffrey Simmons has worked out very, very well doesn't mean that it's just going to work out for every hurt player that you draft. I've told you and I've said what I think that they need to do. Jameson Williams is not a win now guy, and he's a win later guy, right? Your Super Bowl window, your expectations, we talked about it yesterday. Where does Ryan Tannehill have to get the Tennessee Titans in 2022?
To the AFC Championship game.
At least.
And Jameson Williams, that's fine.
And when he gets to the AFC Championship game, he can't throw his first pass as a pick and his last pass as a pick.
Thanks,
He's got to actually play well.
And Jameson Williams will be a massive impact player in January of 2023. I'm not like, when you're talking about the Titans needing an immediate impact from their first round draft pick, I define immediate impact as in the playoffs next season. That's where you need your guys to play the best, right? Because you won 12 games in the regular season with the most injured roster in NFL history. And you had the 1 seed. What you didn't have in January is the 3rd and 5 situation with the clock winding down, and Julio Jones was on the sideline, and A.J. Brown was triple teamed, and you had to force it to NWI.
And we'll see.
And
if I understand the situation that occurred. I just think that, okay, I'll ask you the same thing that I asked you about Dotson. Do you think that the Titans would do this?
I mean, it's like you're asking me, like, sure, they're going to meet and do their homework with Jameson Williams. I think it's a possibility. I mean, you're asking me to predict a first-round draft pick on March 2nd. Like, of course, like the odds are.
That's what we're talking about, right? I mean,
yeah, but the odds are they're not going to draft Jameson Williams because there's so many other options that are out there. And so, but I think it would be a great pick if the Titans can get Jameson Williams at 26th overall, especially because, you know, you don't have You don't have a second round pick.
No,
and Jameson Williams can help you in the playoffs. And here's the good thing about Jeffrey Simmons that you can think about with Jameson Williams is you got Jeffrey Simmons, who was a top 5 talent in that 2019 draft at 19th overall. The 5th-year option is so much cheaper for Jeffrey Simmons. The 5th-year option for Simmons is just over $10 million. If he was a top half of the first round, that 5th-year option would be way more. So you're getting a top 5 talent for 19th overall money for 5 years. Massive. If you can get Jameson Williams, a top 10 talent, I'm not done talking, a top 10 talent for 26th overall money, that's a great value.
How many 5th-year options have they picked up and used?
Well, they've picked up
Isaiah Wilson, no. Corey Davis, no. Dory Jackson, yes, then cut. Like their first round
picks. They're about to pick up Jeffrey Simmons.
Rashawn Evans, no.
Because those players were not worthy of that price.
But what I'm saying is you're sitting there spinning it as a positive. The majority of the time, the Titans don't pick up a 5th round option and re-sign the guy.
If that doesn't mean Jameson would does Corey Davis no 5th-year option? Does Jack Conklin and Dory Jackson? Do any of those not picking up the 5th-year option impact Jeffrey Simmons? No, they don't. So it's irrelevant.
No, it is very relevant. You're sitting here spinning this like, oh, well, this is the reason why you draft the guy. Of course, that's every first-round pick. That's every first-round pick.
That's added bonus.
But the Titans have whiffed.
Zach, I've been talking about Jameson Williams for the last 7 minutes on why the Titans should do it. In minute 7 of my conversation, of all the other points I brought up, an added bonus is that he's a lot cheaper in year 5 because of where you were able to get him and what that value could end up being.
Now you're saying it's an added bonus. When you started, you didn't say it was an added bonus.
Zach, I said it like it was like the 18th point I made about Jameson Williams. Of course.
What I'm saying is that point is not valid because that's every first-round pick, and notoriously, the Titans don't do very well when they draft first-round picks because they don't pick up 5th-year options or extend their contracts. Jeffrey Simmons is literally the only guy that they've done that with in the last however many years. That's what I'm saying. That's
the other guys have not. Dory Jackson was on his way to being worth it. That's why they picked it up, and they were able to use the rules the NFL gave them to get out from under it because he had a mystery knee injury for 16 weeks. And so every situation is different. The reason why Jack Conklin didn't get his 5th-year option is because he was coming off of a bad season where he just tore his ACL and had some other injuries and was not able to be reliable.
Look at the percentages. It's not something that the Titans are very good at doing. Drafting well in the first round and keeping that first-round draft pick. I've said that literally so many times on this show, I can't even keep count, is the reason why you draft a first-round pick is to sign and extend him. That is the benefit of the 5th-year option. And they've only used that once, Jeffrey Simmons, in the last several years.
They've used it twice. And again, like the situation's changed.
Dory Jackson has been trash in New York. He's gone away. When was the last time we talked about a Dory Jackson?
But again, Zach, like you're using your revisionist history. It's a Dory Jackson after his 3rd year, going into his 4th year when the Titans decided to pick up the 5th-year option. A Dory Jackson was playing at a high level. Then Dory Jackson got hurt on a freak injury inside the bubble during a COVID practice when nobody could see it, and he disappeared off the face of the earth, and he is yet to return. And so they were able to, in the rule that has now changed, cut Dory Jackson, save 100% of the money of the 5th-year option, and get out clean on the other side because an injury happened. The 5th-year option is an interesting situation for players because of when the decision has to be made. It has to be made after year 3, before year 4. And the Titans have been in situations where they've had guys who have been in, like Jack Conklin. It didn't make sense to sign the 5th-year option to give Jack Conklin $16 million as the 8th overall player in that draft as an offensive tackle.
The point is you have to draft first-round picks like Jeffrey Simmons where you don't have a question about it. That's defined as good draft.
Zach,
drafting.
You were anti-Jeffrey Simmons draft pick. Do you remember that?
Yes, for other reasons.
Okay. Do
you remember that?
But Zach,
do you remember why I was? And look, people Tweet at me. I don't give a damn. But listen to the words of why I was out on Jeffrey Simmons. It was based on off-field situations, which he has redeemed himself since then. It was not based on on-field situations. And that was fair for me to say based on what happened and the act that occurred. So don't sit there and throw that crap back in my face, because I'll throw it right back at yours. Because I remember the day and exactly where we were sitting at the bottom of Acme when I said it. So shove that. You can talk about other things, but don't sit there and say that I did not criticize Jeffrey Simmons and his ability and his play. I confirmed that he was a top 5 pick and a top 5 talent. I was questioning based on what he did off the field.
But you're against a top 10 talent 7 picks later in Jameson Williams at 26th.
I gave him a B. This is completely apples and oranges. Did you not listen? I guess you just don't listen anymore.
No, I do listen. But you're talking out of both sides of your mouth, because I'm making these points about Jameson Williams and why it would be great and why it would be added bonuses of drafting him there. But then you're contradicting yourself because you're talking about how great, because you just said how great of a pick Jeffrey Simmons was, which is my whole comp to the situation of Jameson Williams in the first place.
I guess you're confused, bro, because the reason why I called you out is because you said a benefit of drafting, and you gave the example of Jeffrey Simmons, is getting that 5th year off of an injured player. And all I said, based on history, is historically the Titans are not very good at drafting first-round players and signing them to long-term deals. And that is what you are supposed to do as an NFL franchise with a first-round pick. That justifies a good first-round pick. The Titans have only had that once, and it hasn't even occurred yet.
But again, but Rashaan Evans and Corey Davis and Jack Conklin, they do not impact Jeffrey Simmons. They will also not impact Jameson Williams or whoever the first-round draft pick is from the Titans this year. They are individual cases, and they have zero relevance towards each other. Like they're separate situations. That's my entire point.
I understand that there are different situations, but
you're lumping them all together.
That's the history that has happened. He's not very good at drafting first round picks. That's the case.
He has
overall, Jeffrey Simmons was good. He was quality. Corey Davis was a bust. Failure. Bust. Dory Jackson, bust as a first rounder. Rashaan Evans, bust. Caleb Farley has 2 massive injuries before he's even actually played 4 games. Well, really 2 games, right? So that's still in question. Jack Conklin, mediocre.
Jack Conklin was not a bust.
I didn't say bust,
yes,
but not great. A first round pick needs to. When was Jack Conklin drafted?
8th overall.
8th?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But again, he's
closer to a bust than a great player. So
all I'm saying he's not. No, he's not. He got $20 million in his first year on a second contract from the Browns. That's not a bust.
I'll set Conklin aside.
He's not a bust.
Overall, John Robinson has not been very good at drafting first round players. Correct or incorrect?
He has been underwhelming. Yes, he has not. He has missed more than he's hit.
Not very good. That's how you would define him.
But again, the Jack Conklin, they've made the right decisions on the second contracts of all the first rounders. It was the right decision to not pay Jack Conklin. It was the right decision to not pay Corey Davis, and the right decision to cut Dory Jackson. It's the right decision to move on from Rashaan Evans.
Because the players weren't good.
No.
Yes, Corey Davis, Dory Jackson, and Rashaan Evans, those players are not good. Correct? We just confirmed that.
They were not good enough for the second contract.
Which means that they were not a very good
I'm tired
pick.
of talking about this. Let's go ahead and throw shade because we're not moving anywhere. We're stuck in the mud.
All I'm saying is my last comment, you can speak after me. I don't even give a damn about the final last word. All I'm saying is Titans fans need to be very cognizant of first round draft picks moving forward based on John Robinson's history. The idea of drafting a first round pick is a high quality player that can impact your team and get to a second contract. notoriously, John Robinson has not done a very good job at that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but that doesn't impact Jameson Williams or Jahan Dotson or anybody else the Titans take at 26. Now,
and Nate, I didn't even mention Isaiah Wilson. That guy got skimmed over because he was such trash, which does count for what you pick.
All right, time for throwing shade here on the show, but real quick, let me make sure and tell you guys all about Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever an injury happens to you in life, we've been talking a lot about injured guys, right? Make sure you know who to go to, you know who to trust with your recovery. Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, over a dozen physicians there at their Franklin campus that can specialize in any type of joint injury that you possibly have. They also have satellite campuses in Brentwood, Thompson Station, and Nolensville. So hit them up, boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports, you see right there at the middle of the screen. We got BetMGM. Download the app today. We are in for a treat. We are in for a big-time treat. And that treat has to do with throwing shade. Throw some shade if you need to throw it. Throw some shade live here on A to Z Sports. It looks like Austin may be frozen.
I can hear you.
Oh, he can hear me. He's just frozen.
Messed up. Something's messed up with my computer screen, but I can still hear.
Okay.
And I can
you still see me talking?
No, my entire screen is frozen. I cannot move my mouse. But I can talk and I can hear, so that makes sense.
That's something. Well,
we're
throwing shade, and I have some shade that needs to be viewed. It is a video. I hope that you are able to. Now we've got Austin jumping out. We'll see if he can jump back in here shortly. So, hey, A to Z Sports Live. It's a takeover. I don't mind that. I think I got him so bad on that first round conversation, he had to exit. I think he had to exit. Throw shade in the comment section. This is Wednesday. You can throw shade on wherever or whoever you need to throw. I am going to start my shade. This is a bad performance from the Wheel of Fortune.
I'll solve.
Okay.
Another feather in your hat.
Christopher. $6.50.
G.
No G. Thomas. Uh-oh, the bankrupt country. Laura, you have another shot at it. You can spin the wheel and try to solve the puzzle.
I'll solve.
Okay.
Another feather in your lap.
No. Although the feather is moving around. Christopher. 900.
D.
No. Thomas. Well, Thomas, I think the wheel got... Laura, you have another opportunity here. You can spin the wheel. You can try to solve the puzzle. What do you want to do? Go ahead and spin if you don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and spin.
Don't get buzzed out here on time. Well, what letter would you like?
A P?
Yes, there's a P. Spin or solve?
I will solve.
Okay.
Another feather in your map.
Christopher, it's your turn. Oh my goodness. The bankrupt got you. Thomas, you have no money. I don't know. You want to spin?
I'll spin.
Okay. So what letter would you like?
A C.
Is there a C up there anywhere? There you go. You want to solve this?
I'll solve. Another feather in your cap.
Yeah, there you go.
Ugh.
He finally got it. I mean, you feel bad for her, but Are you stupid? Like, you got to prepare. If you're going on a game show, like, these are the type of things that you have to prepare for, right? Is these sayings. And that was a struggle. So shade on that one.
Yeah, that was rough. Luckily I got back in time to watch that bad Wheel of Fortune, but yeah, side shade on my computer for just deciding to freeze up during the show. I don't know what's going on, but I'm guessing I'm going to have to do a restart after we're done here. But all right, my shade, Zach, is it happened last night. So wife and I had a workout last evening. We come home. We're like, you know what? Instead of me cooking dinner and doing what we had planned, let's take the dogs on a walk because it's nice outside. And we'll just order Uber Eats. And so it'll be home by the time we're done with our long dog walk to take advantage of it being 55 degrees at night on March 1st.
Sounds like a good plan.
It sounds like a great plan. We've done this plan several times. So what do? We want, let's get some tacos. So we're like, all right, we go to this restaurant and we put in our order for our tacos. All right, says 45, 50 minutes. Perfect. Great long walk around the neighborhood. Sounds awesome. So what do? We're going on a long walk. And we get back around the time, right before the food's supposed to be delivered. And then I open the app and I have no notification, but I open the Uber Eats app and it says, your order was canceled. And I was like, wait, what? And I have no idea when the order was canceled.
Because you didn't get a notification.
I didn't get a notification because I checked my phone a couple times throughout the walk to see if I had your orders on your way or so-and-so just picked up your order and they're on the way. But I got nothing. I just got your orders canceled with zero notification. And so now I'm like, well, now what? Now do I open Uber Eats again and spend another 25 minutes to figure out what the hell we want to eat? And so we settled on Chipotle because it was 9 o'clock at this time almost. And we're just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to drive down the street to Chipotle. And what do I get? I get at Chipotle 3 employees who clearly are not getting along very well, that are frustrated by each other. One guy doesn't understand the order of the online orders that have come in. One girl doesn't know how to replenish the lettuce. And so now we're sitting here. I'm just like awkwardly like looking at these people and they're just giving us the scraps that are left in the line because they haven't cooked anything else. And so because Uber Eats screwed me over and did not tell me that the order was canceled, which I think is BS in the first place, I had to settle for end of the night Chipotle from 3 people who did not want to be there whatsoever.
There's nothing worse than that. It's honestly scary taking the food, knowing how bad it's going to be, or it's just old. I mean, they don't want to serve it to you. Honestly, they don't even want to serve it to you. But that was the situation you're in.
I get the salad bowls at Chipotle, and so I don't do rice or anything, but I do. And I wanted to try the new plant-based chorizo. I was like, I'll see how this is. And so I got my lettuce that looked end of the day lettuce, and I was like, okay. And then she puts the black beans on there. I was like, I'll try the plant-based chorizo. And she took the biggest freaking spoonful of that stuff and just dumped it all over.
Trying to get rid of it.
Yeah. And I was just like, in my head, I was like, that's probably too much. But I'm not going to say anything to this lady because she looks very unhappy right now. It was just bad overall.
Yikes. Let's go through some shades. Got a couple of shades like John throwing shade at Rob Manfred, the commissioner of the Major League Baseball. Opening day, push back, MLB season in flux. Eric says, did you ever update on the parking lot fiasco? I did. Change occurred. A brand new sign was put out in that parking lot. So power to the people there. Hey, I just do my job, man. I do my job for everybody else. I'm selfless. Drew, hey, shout out to Drew. It sounds like he was in a car accident. Suffering with some pain. I saw that earlier on in the show. So shade on that whole situation for you, Drew. We hope you get better as he watches the show pretty consistently. Got some feather in your cap comments. Paulie D says, my landlord just raised this year's rent $100. Usually goes up $50 annually in a COVID year, no less.
Yeah.
Are we still in a COVID year?
Yes. Yes.
When?
Not yet. The answer to your question is not yet.
God, I think yet.
I mean, I
the way
wish.
the way the State of the Union was spoken last night that it was over, which is a crock. But I don't know. It's still out there. I think it's over. I think we all want it to be over.
Multiple comments, literally word for word. Demetrius and Drew. AJ Brown could have warned you about Chipotle. AJ Brown could have warned you about Chipotle. I've never had the AJ Brown Chipotle issue, so I don't eat meat, so that's
what was his issue.
You don't remember when AJ Brown got like food poisoning and it was from Chipotle in the middle of the season?
Right. But if you go to a fast food restaurant and it's fast casual, I guess, you're kind of putting yourself at like really fast food. If you're going to a fast food restaurant, you're putting yourself up for possible poisoning because it's exactly what you said, Austin. Take the end of the night at Chipotle where those people don't want to be there. They're working there. Now extend that to the full day. They don't want to be there. So you're not going to get the service that you want. Plus service in general sucks now because of workers and all that other stuff. But I just think if you go to any fast food restaurant, you got to be a little bit open to getting sick.
Yeah.
It's risky. Tress is right. It's risky.
Chipotle is the only place I eat that you could consider fast food, though.
When I'm on a road trip, I will eat Sonic because I like their cheeseburgers. But I've also gotten sick from Sonic years ago. And Chick-fil-A. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Drew's right. I always believe this. You're playing Russian roulette when you go to fast food. You go to Taco Bell or you go to Arby's. God, I get it. It's fast. It's efficient, but it's risky.
Yeah, it is. It just sucks. At 9:00 at night when your original dinner plan that I was actually looking forward to a lot got canceled on me. And like, what? Why does that happen? Like, if you accepted my order, you can't cancel my order. Has that happened to you with Uber Eats? I've never had that happen where it's flat out canceled my order.
I think it's happened one time, but I was still on the app.
See, that's fine.
It would have been different for you.
This was like order done, order received, out. It really frustrated me because it takes forever to figure out. Like, planning a meal on Uber Eats sometimes is like planning a vacation. Like you're just gonna have to do a lot of research, and I don't know. It takes time. It takes time.
Well, especially because you've lived here long enough. I'm the same way. That's why I enjoy going to Dallas and other cities because I've eaten everywhere here. I've eaten pretty much everywhere that you can eat around where I live. And I'm not driving to Cool Springs or Antioch or Hendersonville to go eat.
Yeah. And then my wife's birthday was this past weekend. And so we ate out a lot over that weekend because we're, having fun and not trying to cook and do dishes and stuff. And so it's like, well, we've done this, we've done that, we've done this, and we've kind of eaten, we've gone through all of our regulars. And so now we're at the end of our rotation, which happened to be late night Chipotle. So, all right, we will see you guys on a Thursday tomorrow. John Robinson and Mike Vrabel will both speak to the media today at the NFL Combine. Check out A2ZSports.com. A lot of great expansion stuff out there. I think we had probably 30 articles written yesterday across the site, so go check it out. And I already know there's a lot of good Titans content that's being worked on right now on A2ZSports.com. So appreciate all of you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Adios.